Hello folks, welcome to Night's Arcade. I'm Sleepless Night, and today I'm going to take an early look at the latest entry from a game franchise I have come to love dearly over the last 12 years and see, in the most unbiased way possible, if Just Cause 4 is likely to prove as much fun as its predecessors. But before we go jumping to conclusions, let's switch on the lights. I'll be right back. So, as is usually the case with my first impressions videos, I like to get them out there as soon as my schedule allows me following release, and that means I've usually only played the game for 2 to 3 hours before giving my early opinions. I wish I could say this wasn't true of Just Cause 4, but unfortunately it is. So bear in mind when watching this that there will be many things I haven't yet seen in this game. These are early impressions and they are just my opinion. This entry in the franchise wastes no time at all in throwing you into the action, dropping you on the ground without lengthy preamble and hoping you know what you're doing. And while that felt comfortable for me as a fan of the franchise, if this is your first foray into Rico's chaotic career of exploding tyrannical regimes in paradise, it might be a steep learning curve during that first mission.
Lots of questions,
Most of the game felt relatively familiar. The conspicuous bright red paint on things to be destroyed, along with the particular red and white or red and silver striped plumage of things that go boom with a ferocity that would make Michael Bay hide under the bedsheets with his teddy bear, are visible before the first short cutscenes are even over. The controls felt relatively standard Just Cause, and I was able to complete the opening mission with no trouble at all, managing to have as much fun as possible along the way. But I started to get an uneasy feeling during the following 2 missions that the menacing blight of overcomplicated game mechanics might just be lurking in Rico's future.
Shit.
If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you'll know that I am a Rico Rodriguez fanboy, and have been since the beginning of the franchise in 2006. I am a James Bond mega geek, so if I say to you that Rico Rodriguez is like a much cooler version of James Bond, you get some idea how much I love these games. But when your central character starts off as the Latin love child of James Bond and Spider-Man with a cooler voice than either one of them, and by game number 3 DLC, he's also somehow got his hands on Iron Man's hand-me-down gadgets to assist him in parachuting off exploding landmarks, riding nuclear missiles, and whatever this is, it must become rather difficult to keep upping your game. Now I have to say that Avalanche Studios have been fantastic at this from the very beginning, adding ever more inventive ways of taking down bad guys, grapple-kicking guys off buildings, tethering them to skyrocketing gas cylinders, using sticky rockets to turn enemy motorcyclists into surprised and woefully prepared astronauts. It just seems to keep coming from the brains at Avalanche. But where do you go from there? Well, in this version, they've added extreme weather and inflating balloons to tether bad guys and vehicles and send them up where the air is clear. What these balloons are filled with, since just 3 or 4 of them can seemingly lift small tanks, I honestly don't know. But the beauty of Just Cause has always been this: you are encouraged not to care. You're liberating nations from despotic Blofeld groupies in breathtaking paradisiacal locations. Sure, you get the occasional tourist with PTSD because you blew up the power plant next to the restaurant he was eating in, but these are countries where drug-dealing nuns drive speedboats. You have to expect the occasional jet ski engine in your Mediterranean salad.
Oh no!
The problem I am anticipating, though, has less to do with the far-fetched over-the-topness of Just Cause, and a bit more to do with a need for slightly, and I really do mean very slightly, more realism. Ordinarily, In Just Cause games, the toys change, but the game remains more or less the same. Liberate Paradise 3 point whatever by destroying enemy bases at strategic points on the extraordinarily large map, allowing the good guys to reclaim those territories. Until you've collected them all, and you get to go punch the big bad boss man in the nose. This time though, Avalanche have decided that perhaps Rico shouldn't be doing all this by himself. So you must now secure regions by advancing and deploying squads. You now need to train soldiers to push back the front lines, find pilots to help you with fast travel and supply drops, and any number of other things which may drag a fast-paced, flat-out fun franchise down into the dreariness of micromanagement. Or it may make no more difference to the enjoyment of the game than the addition of assignments made to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It remains to be seen, I suppose. The sound effects and overall weapons dynamics seem to have undergone a bit of a tweak, but from all I've seen so far it's been handled very well, and only seems to have enhanced the feeling of earth-shattering destruction that Just Cause is so well known for. As usual, there is a dazzling array of different weapon types and ways to dispatch enemies, and I haven't had much chance to play with too many different vehicles yet, but the ones I have seem just as satisfying to drive off high things as they ever were. And the gunboats, for one, actually feel a lot heavier and more real than in previous games, but as I said, I haven't actually dabbled with too many vehicles at this point. Honestly, for me though, the main draw of a Just Cause game has always been the fluidity of just getting around the map using the grappling hook, parachute, and, since Just Cause 3, the apparently gravity-defying wingsuit.
How's he doing that?
This is what I love about games like the early Spider-Man games. I can honestly just spend hours and hours in-game just web-slinging, just as I can spend hours and hours in Just Cause just grappling around and parachuting and wingsuiting. It's beautiful, it's fluid, it's just really, really thoroughly enjoyable, and one of the things that I love most about this franchise. Movement in almost any other game seems almost painfully slow after I've played a Just Cause game.
Not having my grappling hook is like missing a limb.
I got myself a rocket-equipped, jet-enhanced wingsuit early in the game as part of the digital deluxe pack, and honestly, it is so much fun to use. The people of Solis will be liberating their own damn country while I fly up the sides of mountains, frightening tourists and blowing up the occasional radar dish so that the rebels get the hell off my back about not answering the Rico phone.
Are you ever going to answer this?
It's very early days for me in Just Cause 4, so my opinions may change over time, but these games generally get more crazy as you work your way through them, not less. So if you see my wife, tell her not to worry, I will definitely be there for the birth of our second child.
Where? Buena suerte.
Whatever happens, you'll see me playing Just Cause 4 in my regular videos. I have absolutely no doubt, and I will almost certainly make an ultimate review once I've completed it and got a couple of months playtime under my belt. If you have never played a Just Cause game before and want a taste of Rico's mad, mad world before shelling out for Just Cause 4, I would suggest getting one of the earlier ones, which are generally very cheap these days. My recommendation would be Just Cause 3. If you're happy about going old school, I'm sure you can pick up the original Just Cause for like pennies now, but I would stay away from Just Cause 2 if you want a really representative sample. It was okay, but it was definitely the low point in the franchise for me. That's it for this video, folks. You can follow me on Twitter at Knights_Arcade if you want to keep up with myself and my gaming buddies, or just get a more all-round Knights Arcade experience. Leave a like if you like this video, subscribe and ring the bell if you want to see more from me in the future, leave a comment if you have something to say. But until next time, from Knights Arcade, this is Sleepless Night, saying nighty-night.